Hi there. So one of the most common things I get asked is, why am I in pain? What have I done? What has actually happened? And so I always talk to people, and the devil's in the detail, and it's all about getting a good history. And you then delve into it, and it's always a case of overload. Now, overload can occur with acute injury, or it can occur with chronic injury. So you can get into a massive car crash, jump out of a plane, and you have a massive acute injury. You overload the structures one way or another, and they break. Big break, small break, doesn't make a difference. Whatever it is, it hurts. And then you get a chronic repetitive overload type thing. Now, these are your medial tibial stress syndromes, or shin splints, or plantar fasciitis, or Achilles tendinopathy, or any tendonitis, any stress fracture, anything that hurts. That's not acute. That's not the result of an immediate, quick injury. And all of these are because you've increased the amount of work that structure is doing somehow. Now, that could be because you have changed your shoes. It could be that you're walking on new surfaces. It might just be that you are doing more activity. I tell you what, the person who takes up a new activity in January, the person who decides they're going to do a new sport, the guy who tries, or girl, lady, woman, anyone, who tries to take up a new sport so that way they can do more with their kids or something. All of these things are small activities that cause overload. Now, we've all been there, where we've done something like moving house, gardening, any of those bits, spring cleaning. It's that time of year, isn't it? And we wake up the next morning and we ache. And then we ache the day after that, and the day after that, and then after a few days, it's kind of settled down. But it's, normally miserable enough. And you're stiff when you get out of bed and all that. And those are the signs of overload. So when we talk about how to manage these sorts of issues in my clinics, it's about relative rest. And I'll talk a lot more about relative rest, but what we need to know is, what can you do to avoid causing more issues? So when you've got an injury, you rest it somehow, but tendons don't like rest. So what do? If you stop doing everything, then the tendon will heal, but it will heal and be strong enough to do exactly what you were doing while you were resting, i.e. nothing. So actually, you do the maximum amount that you can without it flaring up. So as long as it doesn't hurt more the next day, happy days. If it hurts more the next day, you did too much that day before, or a few days before. So you might have done not too much the day before, but over a few days, you've just done a tiny bit too much. And I'll talk about that a lot more again in another video. But for this, what you're going to be looking to do is to say you normally do 10,000 steps before your injury, and then you have your injury, and then you do your normal day, 10,000 steps, and you hurt the next day. You've done too much. You then do 8,000 steps the next day, and the next morning you don't hurt. So you go, oh, this is good. So you then do 12,000 steps, or 13, because you weren't able to do the things you were able to do. And then the next morning you wake up hurting more. So 10,000 steps is your normal, but you can't cope with 10,000. So you do 8,000 and you cope well with that. So if you maintain 8,000 for a few days, that's resting. That is doing exactly what the tendon wants you to do. It's doing just enough that you stay active, but not so much that you end up hurting. And then after a few days, you can try and go to 9,000 and see if you get away with it and hold it at 9. And if you don't, you then drop back down to 8. And if you do, then go up to 10. See if you cope. Might be that you cope for a few days, but not doing it all week. So you then drop it down. And effectively, this is the way to manage injury, and then it's also the way to prevent it. If you normally do 10,000 steps in a day, and then you do 20,000 steps in Havaianas when you go to roam through the streets of Italy, but normally you're in trainers or work shoes or high heels, any of these, your foot's not going to be used to it. So you need to step back a bit. You need to make sure that you're preparing to do what you would be doing on your holiday. If you're going to be wearing flip-flops, well, maybe wear some that are more supportive, or accept that you have to do less walking, or wear shoes for going out, which are your nicer shoes, and then you have your shoes for tourism times and all that sort of thing. There's lots of ways around it, and I'll do some videos based purely on strategy as well for managing your pain. But as long as you follow these rules, I think you'll be all right. Anyway, if this video has been helpful or has maybe planted a seed of something useful, please click like and subscribe. It really, really helps. And tell your friends about it. If you're part of a group and you found me useful, please share it. I'm going to be putting lots and lots of videos up, so if you subscribe, you'll get lots and lots of useful information. Anyway, take care. Bye for now.